The scope statement is one of the most critical pieces of the project, and writing one can be one of the most difficult tasks for the project manager, no matter what kind of project methodology you're going to use. Now, if you want more information on this, you can turn to page 123 in your books in the 4th edition, and you'll see an example of one there. Just remember that an effectively written scope statement can help the rest of the project flow right along with a minimum number of problems. It's written after the project charter, and it includes everything that the project is intended to produce, plus more stuff. It basically nails down the extent and the details of the project, exactly what will be provided and what will not. That's a very important thing because people make assumptions that your project is going to do more than it ever would, and you have to stop that right away. It also prevents what is called scope creep, that's not a person, that's actually what happens when somebody says, well, could you just do this one other little thing? So we're going to walk down this entire document, and as we do, we're going to go and highlight what each one of these little things are. First of all, you start off with the scope statement, and there's your project serial number. Remember, we made that up in the beginning. There's the title of the project, and the rest of this would be filled in by you. I'm not going to fill it in right here because it's not necessary for the example. The project scope statement is broken down into two parts, the project part and the project management part. So it's kind of like saying this is the product that we're going to make and this is how we're going to manage it. So we're going to take a look at the project part first. This is a good description of what the project might be. So for example, FSCJ will upgrade the library, dormitories, offices, and then all campus buildings to IEEE 802.11 AI Secure Wireless Network Technology. Well, that's quite a statement. You have to wordsmith as you go, but that's the summary of what this project is all about. It's estimated that this project will take 4 months, 9 techs, 2 from FSCJ, and 7 contractors, 86 catalytic. Now notice it's going to actually give you the type of switch here and what it's going to, the software protocol it's going to run. So that's important. This is nailing down the details. This project will facilitate productivity via computer of faculty, staff, and students, so it's going to be open to all, using both school and personal wireless devices. Wow, okay, so that expands the scope of it entirely to much more than we ever thought in the beginning. The project will be completed by fall semester 2014. That's a fairly well-written, concise, smart product description. That's what we want to do. That's exactly what the project is supposed to facilitate. Project characteristics. Now these are the characteristics of the project itself. So it's going to be an IEEE 802.11ai protocol. It's going to have WPA2 security. Not all devices have that ability to have WPA2, but we're going to specify it's going to be WPA2. That's a 256-bit key. And that's the reason we're going to use that. Then it's got to have the Supervisor 8E security protocol, enforcing wireless security policies. And it's going to use the wireless intrusion detection system, which is a protocol for security. The next section talks about the project scope itself and the milestones. So what are the deliverables? In other words, what do we hand over at each point? So, for example, in this particular project, first thing we would hand in would be the plans. So the first deliverable might be the blueprint of where all the different switches are going to go and how we're going to route the wires. We might have a test date or a training date as a deliverable. We might have a certain kind of device that we're going to put in high traffic areas, and the installation of those might be a deliverable. Notice the deliverables also have deadlines, when they're going to be done, and who's going to be responsible for meeting that deadline. Now this kind of means that to do a good scope statement, you got to coordinate with your work breakdown structure, your WBS. They have to play one against the other. You can't promise something in the scope statement and then completely ignore it in your WBS. Working our way down, we've got project limits and exclusions. These are the things that we're not going to do. In other words, people are going to assume that we're going to make this open to the public. No, it's going to be a secure lockdown system. People may assume that we're going to install a protocol system on their machines. No, we're not going to do that. The approach is going to be a standard technology approach of hiring outside contractors. Purchasing is going to be standard, so that would be our approach. In other words, our how we're going to do this. And the success criteria would be that the entire network would be up and running, tested by all 3 groups with all 3 different devices by August of 2014. Let's scroll down and see the second part of this. The second part of this down here has to do with the project administration of the scope. Now, we've talked about the product itself. Now we're going to talk about the project. What is required of our project to be delivered to the sponsor? So our sponsor may say, okay, I want to see the communication plan, I want to see the quality plan, and these are the dates I want to see it. So that would be noted down here as well. So the deliverable in this case might be the quality assurance plan. And the deadline would be a certain day of the month coming up, and who is responsible would be the quality assurance manager. So the top half has to do with the project itself, with the product itself. The second part down here has to do with the project and how we're going to administer that. Have the project manager sign it and the funding sponsor, that would be me, sign it. Now let me just go over one other thing and I'll then quit. Let's say that we've got a lot more deliverables than what will fit on this particular form, so we need to duplicate the line. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to the selection area and I'm going to left mouse and select the row, and I'm going to put in another row that's formatted exactly this way. So with that row selected, I'm going to right mouse and I'm going to say copy, and then I'm going to stay right where I am and then right mouse again and say paste rows, and it inserts another blank row. So I usually leave a couple blank rows at the bottom before I fill it all in so that I can duplicate rows if I need to and make more space.